Hi, I'm Victoria and I'm the owner of Daughter of Music LLC, a music company right here in Atlanta, Georgia, where we provide private music lessons for voice, piano, guitar, and drums, as well as performance, audition, and workshop opportunities and entertainment legal services. Yes, we are the one stop shop for all artists. Thank you so much for tuning in to my podcast, Note to Note. In today's episode, we are going to be discussing performance rights organizations, which is better known as PROs. In United States, we have three distinct PROs: ASCAP, BMI, and CSAC. Now, if you are self published, you might not be familiar with these PROs. However, you may also be wondering, well, what advantage is it for me? There are several advantages when you are signed up with a PRO. And yes, there is an initiation fee to join these specific companies, but the benefit in the end is definitely worthwhile. Now, signing up with these PROs, they are able to collect royalties on your behalf as a songwriter and publisher anytime your music is publicly performed or broadcast. So, if we hear your music in a theater, on the radio stations, and yes, let me stop right there. Radios do not pay royalties for recording artists, only songwriter royalties. So let's say you have a huge hit and it's bringing in so much money, but if it's not generating through the album sales, then, and also if you do not have a publishing share of that composition, then you will not receive radio royalties. If you need any more information about radio royalties, please feel free to check out my previous episode on radio royalties. Now, back to the songwriter royalties. The songwriter royalties are collected in any public performance venue and also on the radio stations. So if you have a specific writer's share of that composition, then absolutely you will be able to claim those royalties. And yes, ASCAP, BMI, and CSEC does a wonderful job of making sure that they are tracking those royalties and making sure that you receive every dime that you are owed. Now, I know you're wondering, well, there are a lot of performance venues around. Absolutely. But I guarantee you, they cannot play your music without the consent and authorization of those PROs. And how do they do that? Well, the PROs, they will issue what we call a blanket license to those specific performance venues. And when they do that, they have to pay a fee in order to play your music. So if you're not on the receiving end of receiving a lot of money through album sales, then don't worry. You can probably get that money back through your songwriter royalties. So that is pretty awesome there. Not only does can you receive money through the PROs through performance venues, but also licensing as well. So if your music is ever licensed in a television show, a movie, my goodness, the money is truly amazing. Now, let's go back a little bit. Let's say you are self published. Well, in that case, if we look at the publisher's share, which normally is total to 100, it's divided equally 50% for the writer's share, 50% for the publisher's share. But if you are self published, you are not owed that 50% of the publishing share to any specific PRO. You are both the writer and the publisher. So that means if I want to use your song in any specific work, then that means you will claim 100% ownership. However, if you are signed up to any of the PROs, ASCAP, BMI, or CSAC, then you are entitled to 50% of the writer's share, and then the other 50% is accumulated for the publishers. But let's break it down a little bit more. Let's say through that 50%, you have other writers, co-writers. then that tells me that you are not going to receive 50%. If you have two other writers and they're receiving 12.5% each, that totals to 25%, then you are going to receive the remainder of 25% for those royalties. So you got to make sure that when you're in the booth and you're composing and producing your music, make sure if you want a little bit higher percentage, just put in a little extra work and do the time there, right? So definitely check out, if you have not signed up with any of these PROs, ASCAP, BMI, CSAC. They have wonderful benefits. And I'm not telling you what I've heard, I'm telling you what I know. I'm blessed to be a member of ASCAP, and there are so many wonderful benefits. And who doesn't like a little extra money in their pocket for all of their time and talents, right? So definitely check that out. If you have any specific questions or concerns about the specific registrations, because the registration process is different for each PRO, then definitely send me an email, or down below you can comment, or you can schedule a free discovery session via our website at www.daughterofmusic.com. Thank you again so much for tuning in to my podcast. And as always, have a wonderful day.